Hello, good morning. How are you doing? Welcome to Morning Call, your tech news for the day. I'm Fab from Hamburg. It is the 16th of May, 2019. And as usual, there are some tech news, some stuff is happening. Especially in the US, where as we discussed often here, Trump is on a rampage against Huawei, all part of his trade war with China, it looks like. And there's an executive order now where basically he's declared a national emergency. She says, so the Register reporting, President Donald J. Trump today declared yet another national emergency in the US. This one over the threat of unidentified foreign adversaries exploiting vulnerabilities in IT and telecom systems and services. Not many specifics, but apparently he's now, trying to get Huawei out of all technology in the US. I don't know. He's placed Huawei and 70 affiliates on a list which will effectively block the Chinese giant from buying components from American companies without Uncle Sam's approval, says the Register. The FBI apparently has warned earlier this year that China is the biggest cybersecurity threat to America. And I'm guessing this is all, this is not about like direct war or direct attacks. This is about espionage in companies, stealing of trade secrets, and it seems to be Trump's latest hobby horse. There's another report I found interesting that this trade war is already affecting how supply chains for technology companies are working. So the Register here saying, according to Semiconductor Intelligence, which I guess is what is that? Magazine? Let's click on that. What could possibly go wrong? It looks like an analysis site, for semiconductor and chip stuff. And they're saying the first quarter of 2019 saw electronics production in the US growing at an average of 6.2%. Over the quarter. The nation has seen 12 consecutive months of manufacturing growth at 5% or higher. At the same time, the Chinese electronics industries grew 8.3% in February and 8.2% in March, first period since November to deliver an increase of less than 10%. So it looks like companies that are buying parts for electronics manufacturer are moving to Taiwan and Vietnam, and it looks like Trump's pressure is working in that regard. I find this all a bit, I don't know. It's a bit hypocritical of the Americans to to complain about lots of spying, isn't it? It's a bit weird. Anyway, speaking of spying, in the UK, MI5. So MI5 is the God. Which one's MI5 again? MI5 is the internal one. Is that the security service? What's their real name? Let's look this up. Security service. Yeah, MI5 is the security service. So the secret intelligence service is MI6. So the internal intelligence agency. They've been slapped a bit for spying on citizens. Apparently, they're obviously monitoring communications in the UK, and they have they fill in like this. When they want to spy on somebody, they have to fill in like these reports, and they have to fill in reasons. And apparently, they were just like using boilerplate text. And it looks a bit like they were spying pretty much in anything they wanted to spy on, and then just slap some boilerplate text on. So, according to the Register, Home Secretary Jahid Javid has confessed to Parliament that MI5 bungled the security of, quote, certain technology environments used to store and analyze data, including that of ordinary Britons spied on by the agency. In a lengthy Parliament statement made last week, Javid obliquely admitted that spies had allowed more people to help themselves to its treasure troves of data on British citizens than was legally allowed. And the Register pointing out that laws in the UK are very lax when it comes to state employees just looking at data. So there is Lord Justice Fulford is one of the I think heads of it's called the Investigatory Powers Commissioner's Office, IPCO. They're responsible for, oversight, intelligence agency oversight, and as Lord Justice saying, first became aware of the compliance risks identified by MI5 at an oral briefing meeting on 27th of February. I immediately requested a comprehensive written description of all matters that had been outlined. This was provided on 11th of March. So they actually sent a team of investigators to MI5 to look at stuff. And Liberty, basically human rights lawyers are saying, the fact that this was only identified by an MI5 report, so there had to be an MI5 report before this even came out, shows how this oversight stuff is not working. There's presumably, they're thinking, I guess, other stuff that MI5, if they're not reporting it, then it's even easier. It's even worse and even easier for them to get away with that. I like the end of the Register here. They're basically explaining that. So whereas to police, like you would say, get a warrant. The way that this system works with the intelligence agencies, basically they get like a blanket. It's called the thematic warrant. They just get this is like part of their boilerplate stuff, I guess. They just get like a, basically boilerplate warrant. They're like, we're searching for Islamic terrorists, right? And then they just use that as an excuse to basically spy on everybody whose last name sounds a bit like there might be an Islamic terrorist or something. That's so they actually have a warrant. It's just incredibly like the barrier to entry for that is just incredibly lax. It's all a bit depressing today, the news. I'm sorry about that, but I guess that's just the way it is. There's a Register calling this a Titanic disaster. So Google is recalling some of its Titan security keys, which they use for two-factor authentication. They have it's called the Advanced Protection Program, and there are models that work with Bluetooth. So you pair them with your device with Bluetooth. and they have a security vulnerability that Microsoft researchers found and reported to Google, where it's a bit far-fetched. You can basically like you could theoretically use it to get like, I think, mirror the credentials. So basically when the user who's using this is pairing it with their device, you have to be in like 30 feet or whatever, like a Bluetooth radius, and then you can just attempt to, well, the one attack you can do is you can attempt to pair your device at the same moment, and then basically you got a mouse and keyboard in their system, or you could, I guess, spoof their key, but you'd have to, like, for the keyboard thing, you'd have to know their username and password, and for the other thing, you have to do it like spoofing their key in the moment they press the button. And as the register says, frankly, an attacker might do better to grab the device in question and run. But still, this is something you have to take serious with an authentication device. So Google is saying we are recalling these, and you can actually get fixed ones for free. You have to provide a credit card, and it's weird. Like they're saying, the register is saying you enter your stuff, and then there's actually a price for the new key, but then it's like a rebate code, and you get it for free. So if you have one of those, if you're using one of those, Bluetooth Google Authenticator dongles, then you might want to investigate that and get one that's fixed. The Samba developers have fixed the security vulnerability. Samba obviously being the open source implementation of the SMB file sharing protocol in Windows. It's a vulnerability in their Kerberos implementation, so it's authentication. Basically, if you manage to insert yourself in a man-in-the-middle position, you could just elevate your rights. Basically, probably getting admin rights on the Samba server, which this is also not world game-breaking stuff, but it's it's file sharing in a Windows network, and then you want to fix that. You want to get a new Samba version, because this is not something your company will be attacked, or your small business will be attacked with from the outside. But once people are in, they tend to use holes like this to get more rights, and then do lateral movement and spread malware. So the fixed versions are Samba 4.8.12, 4.9.8, and 4.10.3, according to Heiser. So you might want to check that. I was reporting yesterday, I think it was yesterday, that the German parliament, basically, they have these groups that investigate stuff. They get the members of parliament get together in these like working groups, and then they investigate stuff. And they had a representative from Twitter join them yesterday to talk about what in Germany is being called hashtag Twitter sperrt. So Twitter just shutting down accounts that are talking about the European elections, and like these members of parliaments were concerned that it looks like there's right-wing people using the flagging mechanism to just get accounts banned. So they had a visit by a Twitter spokesperson, and they are saying this is not an algorithm. This is Twitter employees doing stuff. So in the case where this Jewish newspaper their account was closed, apparently according to Twitter, the person looking at it from Twitter thought the image was fake. I don't even know what's better, if this was just an algorithm that's shit, or it sounds like this is just people being dumb. I don't think that is a lot better. But basically, after everything and after the Twitter guidelines they're using here, Golem is basically reporting on this and saying basically they're banning any satire based on the European elections. So I guess you can't make jokes about the elections, because I mean I don't know why. This is dumb. I'm guessing, if it was an algorithm, they would have the excuse, okay, we can't tell satire from anything else. But they have people looking at that. Shouldn't they have people? I mean, it's shitty work. You don't want to do that, and it's a lot of work. But if you have people at this, shouldn't they be able to recognize satire? I mean, there's context. You have data about the people whose account it is. I mean, there's basically in one case was a politician from Social Democrats who's actually running in this election. I mean, there's context. You might not want to close her account down, right? For the same reasons you would any troll. Like in case of this Jewish newspaper, you could look at things. I don't know. Reemed is saying, no, you can. Give me a second. And sends me a link. Are you saying you can make jokes about the election? Is that what you're saying? I think what Golem is saying here is that people will get banned. I mean, yes, you can make jokes, but people have to flag your tweet. Like if nobody finds your tweet, then obviously it's nothing's going to happen to you. The problem is that there is the danger. Yes, you have to add satire account to your bio, says Reemed. Okay, so he's sending me a link. I couldn't open that in this browser. Bit of a complicated setup here. I'm just opening this on the other one so we can look at it. Okay, so this is a member of parliament, I'm guessing, from Social Democrats saying satire is allowed on Twitter, but not when it comes to elections. Excluded from this are satire accounts. That is nothing Twitter decides. This is something that has to be in the biography of the in the bio of the account. Okay, that is dumb though. Like, I object against that. I mean, the fact that something is just called, I'm just going to retweet that. I need to change to the other browser for that. That is dumb. Because, I mean, why am I not, as a user, why am I not allowed to just make jokes? I mean, the only reason is that Twitter is too dumb to recognize it. And I think they're afraid that people will spread misinformation. As Reem said, that's strange. Yeah, it is strange. I mean, I think they're afraid that people will spread misinformation and then claim, oh, that was satire. And it's arguably hard to recognize satire. That is not something an AI can ever do. But if you have people on this, I mean, I think it's on Twitter to recognize this. I do not think. I mean, the colleague, my ex-colleague from Heise, who got banned, for example, like he said, so he was talking about, he's a Green member of the Greens, right? He was talking about the Partei, so a satire party, and he says, so you're voting for a satire party, he said, but like you wouldn't give your money to a satire bank, right? And that is not even a joke. I mean, it's funny. It could be conceived as funny, but it is not in itself a joke. It's certainly not satire. It is a valid comment on the election. Like, why ban him for that? And also, like, if you're the guy sitting there looking at that for Twitter, like, look at his fucking account. He's a journalist, right? You know, maybe you wanna think about like banning journalism. Journalists, even like he's a tech journalist, and I think that was a personal opinion, but still, I mean, come on. If it's somebody's job, his job may be to report on Twitter as well. You don't know that. like in cases like that, you maybe want to be a bit careful with the fucking banhammer. I don't know. Reamed is now researching the Twitter guys. Like, don't give, seriously, fuck them and their guidelines. That's not a good idea. I know it's their platform; they can do whatever they want, but I can criticize them for that, especially while I'm here on Twitch or in your ears as an independent podcast. I can give them the finger. They can't stop me. Can ban my Twitter account, and then all hell's gonna break you loose. Anyway, Forbes, the subscription service of Forbes, the print magazine, got hit with MageCard malware. So basically, they have a Magento, as a lot of people, they're running a Magento e-commerce software. And there's like this exploit. It's called MageCard. Basically, you hack a Magento instance. Pretty much all the cases it happens because they didn't do a security update, and then you get in there and you put malware right in the buying process, right where basically a victim enters their credit card number, your malware, usually JavaScript's in there, and can basically harvest these credit card numbers because, you're sending them to the server, so if malware is on the server, pretty much easy to do that, and then it usually dumps those in a text file, and people go and, download those text files, and then they have like hundreds, maybe thousands of credit card numbers. So that is what happened to Forbes magazine. So just a heads up. These attacks, these MageCard attacks, are just everywhere. It's just amazing. It's amazing to me that Magento doesn't have better security, especially because, like, if you look at something like WordPress with auto updates, obviously not really same thing with Magento, and they're huge. Like, people don't know about them because they're like white label software, right? So you pretty much a lot of e-commerce, like shopping carts, are just basically just made Magento. And just keep that up to date, people, please. You're shopping information. Anyway, some lighter news now, just to get out here, get through more stories. One is Atom, the text editor from GitHub, has a new version out, Atom 1.3.7. This is my editor of choice. I like this thing. I get shit from real programmers because they're like, I loaded like a 3 gigabyte CSV file into this, and then it crashed because it's HTML and JavaScript, this editor. And I'm like, yeah, probably, but it works for the stuff I'm doing. It's really good for just writing things, and also some little bit of coding I'm doing in it. Anyway, it is obviously tightly integrated with GitHub. I'm using it mostly with GitLab, but they have new features where when you have the GitHub package, which is installed by default, if you're working with GitHub, you can do Git commits. I do that. I do like, I have my code obviously, but also like my writing. I just have that in Git commits, in Git repos, and you can do commits right from the editor. It's pretty great. And now you can also, in this new version, you can also look at pull requests comments, right, which you had to find manually beforehand, but now they're right in the editor. You can jump to the part in the file they're talking about. You can reply. You can resolve things. Looks pretty cool. I'm liking that. Atom's really cool as well. It has lots of plugins because it's basically just, a lot of it is just HTML, CSS, JavaScript. It's pretty easy to write plugins for it. So that's pretty good. Then Blizzard has announced that World of Warcraft reboot my mouth there. World of Warcraft Classic is coming in August, 27th of August. They have announced they will start stress tests pretty soon. People can sign up for that. So this is after the community had set up basically what's called vanilla World of Warcraft service. So service, like, you're not allowed to set up your own service, but they would just basically set up their own service and played World of Warcraft in a state as it was, as WoW was when it came out, which is something I remember fondly back in the day, playing it with my then girlfriend, now wife. That was pretty cool. And Blizzard shut those servers down, and they got a lot of shit from the community because apparently the community really wants this. And then they announced, okay, we're going to do our own vanilla version. It's going to be called WoW Classic. And they're doing this now, and it has a release date, which is pretty interesting. This is 15 years later. My God, I feel old. I feel really old. But I might be trying that. I think that would be a nice nostalgia trip. I don't know. The community really wanted this. I don't know if it's gonna take off, but I kind of feel like it. It looks like it. People still really want it, so we'll see. And then the last what the fuck story. Uber in the news again. Uber being shit. Uber has now for the more expensive Uber Black and Uber Black SUV service, they have put an app in their butt. What? A button in their app. My God, I need more coffee. Coffee is nearly gone. This is not good. They have a button now where you can basically tell the driver not to talk to you because you're important and you're answering email, or because you're antisocial and just don't want to talk to people. This is shit. Oh God, this is like Uber drivers in forums for Uber drivers are calling this the Uber quit mode, or the driver shut the fuck up button. I love the register here saying, among those griping about the gag option, one forum participant expressed hope for a parallel enhancement to the driver app, like a passenger eject button. Also, this paragraph is great. The register nailing it completely. The shut up and drive checkbox for Uber's pricier transport arrives in the US alongside other ride preference options, including help with luggage and temperature control. The plebs booking budget UberX or pool rides are left to deal with droning drivers, bulky bags, and sauna sedans on their own, without the impersonal mediation of an app menu. Obviously, the register also saying here, Uber drivers probably more chatty recently because of them being treated so shit. I mean, there was a story that basically the U.S. National Labor Relations Board has decided that Uber drivers are not employees, but freelance contractors, and can therefore be treated like shit. Which, that's not good. Silence of the vans is the headline on the register, which is also great. Anyway, that's it. That's all the news today, pretty much. There's also some other boring stuff which I cut out because it's boring. I'll be back tomorrow with some more tech news. It is looking like next week will be a thin week for the show, because I might be heading home on some errands in the beginning of the week, so there might be a few days where I can't do the show, because I'm visiting my old stomping grounds in the Ruhr area. But I'll let you know definitely about that tomorrow. And of course, I'll be back tomorrow with some more tech news. I will be heading over to the cafeteria, the Fab Industries cafeteria now, because I need more coffee. Because obviously my brain isn't working. Until then, remember not to make any jokes on Twitter at all, because the fuckers don't like humor. And just be careful. Until then, I'll see you tomorrow. Have an excellent day. Goodbye.